Saturday Night Live had some fun with New Year's wishes from some prominent Democrats. Take a look at what they did the other night.
I can see how near you'll be, but I can dream, can I adore you, the way our oceans apart.
New Year's longings, and for political junkies, there is no greater day, maybe in the decade, than the day we have today. It is reapportionment day. We learn a lot about the decennial census, and we're joined by one of the experts on the subject, Dave Wasserman from the Cook Political Report, who tracks House races. This basically aligned with what we expected. Any, first of all, top-line surprises that you see in the reapportionment process?
Well, in the reapportionment process, which precedes redistricting,
right.
By the way, this is like NCAA Selection Sunday.
That's right.
For
These
us
are the brackets,
redistricting
right?
geeks, right? These are the brackets, right? But Texas, as expected, is the big winner here. It's gaining 4 seats. Florida is gaining 2 seats. New York and Ohio are the big losers, losing 2 seats each. And that's pretty much on target with the expectations we had going into this process. But first, there's reapportionment, and then redistricting will consume our entire House coverage for the next year and a half in terms of which parties are going to try and carve seats for themselves, which parties are going to try and carve seats out of the other party's column, and Republicans are the ones with the advantage going into that process.
Yeah, as we were looking at it, it looks like, what, 7 of the 8 states that are picking up seats have Republican governors. That's got to make a big difference.
Absolutely, and it's not just governors. The actual legislators in each state who are going to be drawing the lines, well, there are 680 new Republican legislators in the incoming class of 2010 who are going to be taking office and drawing these lines when the census numbers that are detailed and used for this process are released in 2011. So Republicans actually have legislative and gubernatorial control over the line drawing process and redrawing process in 195 congressional districts compared to just 49 districts for Democrats. To put that in some perspective, it was almost the opposite as recently as 20 years ago.
One thing I want to focus on, Texas is the big winner here. They're adding 4 seats. Now, no secret, this is mostly because of Hispanic population growth in that state, but Republicans who tend not to be Hispanic voters in that state, they control all the levers of power in Texas. Is there a way that they end up drawing this map that kind of minimizes where the population growth is?
Well, that's the question, and this is why redistricting is such a sticky legal issue. It's a very complex issue that states and courts are going to be litigating for the next year and perhaps longer. As we saw in Texas last time around, we saw an exodus of state legislators to Oklahoma over that process. So minority representation is going to be issue number 1 in states like Texas, where a lot of that population growth has been from Hispanic residents. We're likely going to see a new Hispanic majority district, one way or the other, in each of Dallas and South Texas. And so it's not so clear-cut, even in a state like Texas where Republicans control all the levers of power. It still could be kind of an even gain for both Democrats and Republicans given those Voting Rights Act measures.
And in our last 20 seconds here, this is a map that broadly for 2012 would seem to favor Republicans. It's like you're just taking a decent-sized state and throwing it in the Republican column when you talk about the Texas's adding seats, Utah, Arizona.
Right, absolutely. The other big implication is obviously for the Electoral College. And Texas gaining 4 seats is the equivalent of perhaps Republicans picking up the state of New Hampshire if they're able to hold on to Texas in the 2012 presidential election. Obviously, Utah,
just like that.
Perhaps Florida will help them.
Dave Wasserman, Cook Political Report. Census Day, we love it here on Top Line. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, sir.
Twitter.com/Rick Klein, Twitter.com/John Carl. Keep the census tweets coming.